Another view of reality. There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamed of by mere mortal men. Shakespeare. To work with mind power, you do not have to understand the laws of physics or how reality manifests itself, just as you don't have to understand how a carburetor works or how spark plugs fire in order to drive a car. Few of us understand automotive mechanics, but that doesn't stop us from driving. Likewise, in the science of mind power, anyone can quickly and successfully master the basics and effectively put them to work in his or her life. We begin by examining the nature of reality, especially the startling new discoveries in science over the last 20 years or work with mind power, which have helped us to understand more clearly how the mind creates its own reality. These discoveries explain why creating visualizations in our minds is not just idle daydreaming, but is a creative process which helps us control and direct the same energies that hold matter together, change water into steam, or cause a seed to sprout and grow. Understanding the nature of these energies assists us in understanding the mind, and shows us why inspiration, prayer and intuition are not supernatural phenomena at all, but follow patterns and laws which we can discover and use at our will. Like everything else in the known universe, the powers of the mind are governed by laws which, robbed of their scientific jargon and clearly presented, can be easily understood by anyone. Let me take you on a short adventure into these new discoveries. Modern physics now sees the universe as a vast, inseparable web of dynamic activity. Not only is the universe alive and constantly changing, but everything in the universe affects everything else. At its most primary level, the universe seems to be whole and undifferentiated, a fathomless sea of energy that permeates every object and every act. It is all one. In short, scientists are now confirming what mystics, seers and occultists have been telling us for thousands of years: we are not separate but part of one giant whole. When a blade of grass is cut, the whole universe quivers. Ancient Upanishad saying. Modern physics has changed our concept of the material world. Particles are no longer seen as consisting of any basic stuff. Rather, they are seen as bundles of energy. They may make sudden transitions, quantum leaps, behaving at times like units, yet on other occasions like waves of pure energy. Reality is fluid. Nothing is fixed. Everything is part of a pattern that is in constant motion. Even a rock is a dance of energy. The universe is dynamic and alive, and we are in it and of it, dynamic and alive ourselves. The universe is a giant hologram. The theories that enabled the development of the hologram were first formulated in 1947 by Denis Gabor, who later won a Nobel Prize for his discovery. A hologram is an entity in which the whole is contained in each and every one of its parts. For example, a starfish exhibits certain holographic patterns. If you cut a point from a starfish, it will grow a new point. Not only that, the point will grow a whole new starfish, because the genetic imprint is contained in each and every one of its parts. I was at a holographic exhibition several years ago in which I saw an exhibit of photographs done with holography. In one of the pictures was an image of a woman standing upright. If I moved to the right of the picture, the woman changed suddenly and she was now smoking a cigarette. If I moved to the left of the picture, it changed again and she had her hip thrown out in a suggestive pose. If one were to drop this holographic plate onto the floor and it shattered into pieces, each piece would reveal not what you would expect to see, a piece of her shoe or dress or maybe her eye, but the image of the whole woman. And if one moved any one of the little pieces from side to side, you would still see her smoke that cigarette and throw out her hip. Every single one of the small pieces would have the whole picture contained within it. It now appears that the nature of reality is holographic, and that the brain operates holographically as well. Our thinking processes seem to be identical to the primary state of the universe and made up of all the same stuff. The brain is a hologram interpreting the holographic universe. The main architects of this astounding idea were two of the world's most eminent thinkers, the University of London physicist David Bohm, a protégé of Einstein's and one of the world's most respected quantum physicists, and Karl Pribram, a neurophysiologist at Stanford University. Coincidentally, they arrived at their findings independently of each other while working in totally separate fields of science. Bohm became convinced of the universe's holographic nature after years of frustration with the inability of more standard theories to explain all of the phenomena and results he was encountering in quantum physics. Pribram, in studying the human brain, also realized that standard theories' explanations of various neurophysiological puzzles simply didn't add up. For both men, the holographic model suddenly made sense and resolved a lot of unanswered questions. Both published their findings in the early 1970s. Their work received enormous response, but unfortunately little of it was understood outside of the scientific community. While they had their detractors and skeptics, what new theory doesn't? Many of the world's most prominent physicists and scientists soon came on board. Cambridge's Brian Josephson, winner of the 1973 Nobel Prize in Physics, described Bohm and Pribram's discoveries as involving the most revolutionary breakthroughs in understanding the nature of reality. David Peat, a physicist at Queen's University in Canada and author of the book, The Bridge Between Matter and Mind, was another to agree. Our thought processes are much more intimately connected to the physical world than any of us would suspect. In 1979 at Princeton University, Robert G. Jahn, Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Science, established a research program to explore the role of consciousness in the establishment of physical reality. After thousands of controlled experiments, Jahn and his associates published their findings, stating that there was now sufficient evidence to indicate unequivocally that the mind can and does directly affect physical reality. By 1994, eminent scientists, educators and physicians from around the world were meeting at Princeton University to discuss how this startling new information might be extended and applied within their own fields and institutions. All this is truly exciting news, and the implications are nothing less than staggering when one considers how we might use this new knowledge. How consciousness and the physical world interact is now much less of a mystery. Consciousness is but energy in its finest and most dynamic form. This helps explain why events are affected by what we imagine, visualize, desire, want or fear, and why and how an image held in the mind can be made real. These discoveries about the nature of reality can be a major force for our continued change and growth. If we know and understand that we are a part of an open and dynamic universe, and that our minds play a decisive part in constructing reality, then we can choose to live more creatively and powerfully. We need no longer stand on the sidelines watching things happen to us, for with our new understanding we now realize that there are no sidelines to stand on, nor were there ever. Everything is affecting everything else. Wherever we go, whatever we do, our thoughts are creating our reality. Discovering a new theory, Einstein once said, "It is like climbing a mountain, gaining new and wider views." This is what you are doing by reading this book, and soon your mental climb will be rewarded by an open and exhilarating view of your true potential.